All right, so for me, the best kinds of cars that you can buy in the market today are the ones that that offer a good value proposition, the most bang for your buck. Now, we reviewed the Honda BR-V V variant a couple of months ago, and I absolutely loved it. Now, we didn't get to drive it for an extended period of time, so there are bits of information that I was not able to give you. But this one right here, the entry-level S variant, made me a believer, and I'll show you just why. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here for Zigwheels.Ph. Now, if you're in the market for a great 7-seater family car or a family SUV, here's our review of the 2023 Honda BR-V S. All right, so like I told you guys a couple of months ago, I absolutely loved how the second generation Honda BR-V turned out. Now, while the first generation looked like a loaf of bread with all its weird angles, those oval designs around it, this time around, it's got a boxier design. It looks more macho. If you're looking for an SUV feel in your MPVs or your 7-seaters, this is the way to go. I mean, look at this. It still has a hint of a flying wing design, which is reminiscent of previous generation Hondas, but this new front fascia keeps it more in line with the current offerings of Honda, especially with the HR-V and the upcoming CR-V. So you guys better watch out for that. Now, with the S variant right here, you actually gave it a more subdued look with this plastic grille here. It still has that same design language, but at least Honda, even though you have a entry-level SUV right here, it still gave us the LED implementation for the headlamps. You get LED headlamps, LED DRLs, as well as LED fog lamps right there. Now, a lot of guys have been throwing around it's an MPV with SUV or crossover looks, but it definitely passes the crossover SUV test for me because it's got those black plastic claddings all around. You got that right there on the front fender all the way to the bottom, and then finishes off right there at the back. Now, more than just those plastic claddings, the front fender and the rear ones actually have these bulging effect right here on the side, giving it again, continuing over that muscular look that goes down the road. Now, you still have those 17-inch alloy wheels, which you can find on the V variant as well as the VX variant. I like how they placed it even in the entry-level model. Now, you have these repeater signals on the side. By the way, these side mirrors, they're not automatic folding. So if you want to fold them, you have to do that manually, of course. You got these roof rails up top. One thing that this does not have, though, is smart key entry. So if you're expecting this to open up when you have the key fob with you, it's not going to do so. Again, it gives you that boxy look that most buyers in the SUV market are looking for, but at a more affordable price and great value. So yes. Now, while the front end and the side profile of the Honda BR-V might be its strongest points, especially with the exterior, the rear is probably not my favorite part. For starters, the license plate is located way below here, which I would have preferred it to be right there smack in the middle, giving it a more traditionally Japanese SUV look. But having the license plate right here at the bottom maybe puts it out of whack just a little bit, but at least Honda follows through with those LED tail lamps, and I really like how they look. It doesn't have any power tailgate features, but that's just fine because this is, after all, an entry-level SUV. But once you do open up that tailgate, it gives you access to all this space in the back. Now, having the third row seats upright, you still have enough space to put all your stuff in. But since we have all our equipment, all our camera equipment, our bags and all that, we had to fold down those third row seats and giving us all this space. If you need even more space, you can actually fold those second row seats down and you can put longer items inside. Maybe heading over into La Union, putting your surfboard right there, you can do so without any problems. All right, so overall, the exterior features of the Honda BR-V really hammers home its SUV looks. Maybe a little bit more iffy right here in the rear, but yeah, as an overall package, it certainly fits the bill of a crossover SUV. All right, so that's enough of the outside. Let's head on over inside and I'll show you a couple of things as well that I really love. All right, so right now we are inside the Honda BR-V CVT S variant. But first of all, this one doesn't have the leather steering wheel. This is a polyurethane steering wheel, which is nice to hold. Now, the dashboard doesn't have the piano black on it. The only piano black trim it has is around the 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. And you know how I feel about that. I absolutely love the omission of those trims. You won't even find any of those leather trims on the side panels right here, on the door panels. It's just hard plastic all around. Now, a couple of things. The steering wheel does not have adjustments for reach, only for rake, but that's the same with the V variant that we reviewed as well. Now, I love how this touchscreen infotainment system is mounted on what seems to look like a floating head unit design. It gives it a little bit more modern look to it. All right, so the AC system right here is actually very interesting. Now, it doesn't have any heating functions, which is just fine because you don't need that in a tropical country like the Philippines. But the other day, while I was adjusting the temperature of the Honda BRV, I was actually trying to put the temperature down right here. So I was trying to put the temperature down, as I always do in other cars, but I noticed that it feels kind of hot inside. But that button actually controls the amount of coldness that you have in the car. So putting it up increases the cold temperature, or puts the temperature down, and putting it down would decrease the coldness or put the temperature higher. So that's one thing that you might want to consider. So if you guys say that the Honda BRV has really bad air conditioning, nope, it's really ice cold inside here. Back there it is with max AC. It's just that little thermostat right there switched and flipped all the way around. So keep that in mind. Even though you are in an entry-level CVT model, you still get that start-stop button, which is nice. So you got USB ports right here, 2 USB ports. One is for charging, one is for connecting your smartphone to it. This, by the way, has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is an amazing feature, and I think should be standard in all cars moving forward. Now, moving over to the center console right here, you got 2 cup holders. It doesn't have any electronic parking brake. You get the old school handbrake right there with a satisfying thunk or clack whenever you park that brake, and you got your CVT transmission right here. The seats, they're not leather seats, they're fabric, but they're nice and supportive. I actually prefer these fabric seats. They're very supportive, they're very comfortable, and soft as well. I actually left this outside in the sun, parked outside, and once I got it, I was actually expecting it to be really hot, but it wasn't really hot. I actually had to turn on this the remote start button. Again, an entry-level MPV SUV, but you've got remote start, and that's just crazy. So before you enter your car, just lock the car like so, and then hold this button right here, and it turns on the AC for you for about a few minutes, and then it turns itself off. And once you get inside, it's really cold. Plus the seats don't retain heat as much as leather does. So this is definitely a comfortable choice if you want to get this particular car. I like how the overall design looks. It's definitely no fuss. You won't be hearing any clacks and clatters inside. The build quality is excellent. I just wish that the sun visors had those vanity lights to moving forward. But hey, again, if you want to get those vanity lights, they are available in the top of the line VX model. So we're going to start a new test right there because they asked us how this actually sounds like. We're going to start with the horny test. So that's how that sounds like. It sounds a little bit tinny, but again, this is made with the emerging markets in mind. So I guess that's more in line with those particular markets. And we are in emerging market. Don't get that wrong. So that's enough about the front end. It's really straightforward as it gets, but still keeping with a little bit more modern touches here and there. Let's head on over to the second row seats, and let's see what's what with that. All right, so right here in the rear, I'm still sitting behind my own optimal driving position right there. I still have a lot of space for me here in the second row. I got a lot of knee room and room for my feet, which is very important, especially for an SUV MPV like this one, because you want to seat people in the back as comfortably as they can. And if you can't slide your feet forward, we're gonna have a problem. But right now, I do have a lot of space for my legs and my feet. And yes, headroom is excellent as well. You got these AC vents in the rear. You can actually control the speed of those vents. You've got an armrest here right there in the door card. Unfortunately, you don't have an armrest for the second row passenger here, but you can fit someone else inside there as well. If I fit myself in the middle, this is fairly comfortable. I can fit myself here and see myself traveling quite a few distances in here. And so this is fine. This is very comfortable, very Honda-like with the ergonomics here. Now, if you want to watch me check out the third row seats, we have a video right here. So to get into the third row, it's very easy. All you have to do is simply flip this lever right here, one switch, and you tumble it forward. And then you can climb all the way to the back. The second row seats, by the way, are set up for my most comfortable position. So there, closing it down. So I want to imagine myself sitting on the second row, and then I'll be right here. So you got to recline this. What's the point of putting a second row if you don't have it all reclined? Yeah, there you go. And oh no. Oh yeah. I would imagine a car reviewer or any other passenger who would probably be below my height. I'm 5'10.5". I'm a bit chunky looking, but yeah. And then my legs can barely fit. My legs are open up this way, so if I'm by myself in the back, it's fine, but I won't be able to relax at all in the back right here. You do have two cup holders here in the aforementioned 12-volt socket, but no, this is a no-go for me. But if you are below 5'6", yeah, you can definitely fit easily. Now I really thank Honda for putting this tumble seat feature forward, because this is a much better setup for me. Yeah. That one had a USB, or should I say a socket right there in the back, but this one does not have one. So for the second row passengers, the only toy that you get is a single power outlet, a 12-volt socket right there. But if I were to drive, or if I were to ride an entry-level SUV, this is the one I choose to be right behind that, because of how modern it is, because of the space, and of course the amenities inside. Again, I just wish that there were more, but I've tempered my expectations because of the price and the positioning of this particular variant, which I'll tell you later on. I'm sure you will be very surprised and find that this is a great value. So right now, speaking of value, let's see how this works and how this drives. So let's take this out on the road. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the 2023 Honda BRV S CVT. Now, under the hood, you've got a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that makes around 120 horsepower and 145 newton meters of torque. It's mated to a CVT, or a continuously variable transmission, which means it's not going to be the sportiest car around, but it's not really meant to. But with those numbers, keep in mind that it is class leading. The 120 horsepower definitely shows itself being a cut above the rest, which barely even cuts the 110 horsepower mark. Now, having 120 horses under the hood definitely helps when overtaking and such, but again, it's not the quickest thing around. Now, that CVT actually really helps. It doesn't help much with performance and off-the-line acceleration, but it helps with overall smoothness. You don't have any real drive modes. You do have drive, you got sporty, and L mode. L mode, which means that it's going to keep the revs higher, or keep the gears as low as possible, so you can definitely take this up to Baguio or go through a steep incline in this car. For suspension, you've got McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar rear suspension. It's just a basic suspension setup, which is definitely fine. It's comfortable inside. It's set up more for comfort rather than all-out sportiness. If you're wondering how the NVH levels are on this car, it's pretty standard as well. If you can hear that, you can hear a lot of the vehicles running outside, the Jeeps, the tricycles. But when it comes in terms of vibration and harshness, you can definitely feel this being one of the smoother SUV MPV crossovers out there. But if you accelerate it, you can hear a lot of that Honda noise. You can definitely hear a lot of the engine noise coming through the cabin from the engine bay. All right, so when it comes to safety features, it's got the basics. You got dual front airbags, but it also has side airbags, so that's an additional feature. You got ABS with the electronic brake force distribution. You got stability control. You've got hill assist control. You even have a backup camera right there that helps you out. One thing that is missing that I wish this does have is a rear parking sensor, at least a rear parking sensor. You do have a camera to check your surroundings, but it's not going to warn you if you're getting too close to a wall or any obstacle while you're backing up. If you want to have Honda sensing, you will have to go or swing for the top of the line model, which this definitely does not have. All right, so pricing for the 2023 Honda BRV CVT S variant starts at 1,150,000 pesos. Now, at that price point, it definitely offers quite a compelling value, considering that many of the competitions actually cost you much more than that, but actually has much less kit than this one does. What the BRV has on top of them is, of course, the performance that it can give you. With every inch of horsepower and small bits of kit here and there really adds up down the line. I mean, you're not going to be regretting buying the S variant, this variant, over the V or the VX, because everything you need is definitely going to be right here. So I think if you want to get a good valued MPV SUV crossover, then this must definitely be on your list. So you see the shades are definitely on. That means summer is up. You might want to head on over to Zigwheels.Ph to find the best prices on your next car for your next road trip, and the Honda BRV S variant just might be your cup of tea. But what do you think? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. I want to see in the comment section if the shades definitely work or you want me to take that off. But hey, at least we're here making sure that you get your review on. Thanks so much for watching. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph, and I'll see you guys next time.